Okay, so for our new lesson, okay, it's actually a continuation of our examining or evaluating a review. So this time, what we're going to discuss about is how to write a review. Okay, whether it be a restaurant review or movie review. Okay, so let's start with the objective. Okay. So at the end of the lesson, you should be able to form opinions based on accurate observations, refer to specific pieces of evidence to support claims, present ideas convincingly, raise legitimate counter-reviews in an appropriate manner, apply the principles of writing effective reviews or critiques, and write an objective balanced review or critique of a work of art or an establishment. So, just to check, nakikita nyo ngayon yung aking screen? Any one of you? Lahat naman nakikita? Walang problema sa aking screen sharing? So, okay tayo? Baka hindi nyo na nakikita, hindi kayo nagsasalita dyan, ha? Okay. So, let's continue. So, in writing a review, we will begin with the pre-writing. So, what I'm going to present to you is how you're going to write your review for restaurant and movie. Okay, so, ito yung pattern, ito yung format na susundin ninyo, okay, to write a review. So, karamihan sa inyo ngayon ng ibang hindi makaka-attend is walang wifi. Okay, sige. Wala tayong magagawa, hindi naman natin control yan. Okay. So, ganito na lang. Dahil what I'm going to do na lang is I will record this lesson para for those who cannot attend our class today, meron kayong chance na okay, you can still have time to, or you can still have a chance to uh, have a discussion of our topic. So right now, I'm going to record our lesson so that for those who cannot attend this class will be able to still listen or watch this pre-recorded uh, discussion. Okay? So now, moving on. So pre-writing is the first step, okay, we're going to do when you write a review. So in the pre-writing, okay, this is for the restaurant. Okay. So the first thing you have to do, of course, you have to visit the restaurant you are intended to write a review. Okay. Puntahan nyo yung restaurant na yon. This can be your friends or your family that they would like to visit in the future. So you go to that place, you go to the restaurant, okay, observe the surrounding, okay, everything in that restaurant, so that you have all the information you needed when you start writing your review. So after you have familiarize yourself with what a review is and its different features, you are now ready to write your own. So in this lesson, we will deal with the process of writing a review. Okay, we'll start, okay, with the pre-writing, and one of the step you're going to do with the pre-writing is you visit the restaurant if it's a restaurant review, and if it's a movie review, you have to watch the movie, of course. Okay. So once you're already there, get a notepad and write down your observations. So pag nandun ka na restaurant, okay, you, you, you take an order, or you order the food that you want to eat, okay, and then you try to observe the services, lahat ng nandun sa restaurant na yon. Okay, you need to take, okay, everything that you think is important for you to have your review. So kailangan meron kang notepad, okay, and then you write all those observations you have for that restaurant. Okay. So mahalaga may notepad kang dala kapag pupunta ka sa restaurant na yon, okay, that you intended to have a review. Okay. Next. Okay. So here are the guides that you can use when you take a note, all the observations. Okay. You all the observations you think that is required for your review. Okay, you can follow this guidelines. So for the restaurant review, it is the first. Ito yung mga facet. Okay, the ambience, value of money, food, service, and others. So it's up to you kung lahat siya lalagyan nyo ng comment or feedback. Okay. For the movie review naman, okay, so ito lang yung mga facet that you can also use or you can also apply for your movie review. So it's also up to you kung lahat ba yan, lalagyan nyo ng feedback or comment, lahat ba yan sasagutan nyo kasama sa review nyo, or you only have to choose 3 out of this 5 facet. Okay. At least you have 3 facet that you're going to use as a guide for your movie review. Okay. The same also with the restaurant review. Okay. Okay. So next. So far, any questions? Meron na bang questions? Or I'll just continue the discussion. Do you have any questions? So far, wala pa? Okay, sige. Let's continue. Okay. So the rest, pwede paki-open ng inyong mga video kasi baka mamaya may iba nang nakapasok dito na wala akong idea. Ibang hindi na pala natin estudyante. Okay? So please open your video so that I can also see you. Okay. Okay. So to continue, so this is the example, okay? So this is the simplified version of the reviewer's pre-writing list. So based on sa guidelines na pinresent ko sa inyo kanina, okay, this is what, okay, this is what comes out dun sa mga questions, okay, or dun sa mga facet na pinresent natin kanina. Ito yung pinaka sabihin nating summary. Okay. So when we talk about the reputation, it refers about how it is known for based on their customer. So the first comment has something to do with the reputation of the restaurant. Okay. So what I think of cafe Flora. Okay, so the second one deals with the price. Okay, so one of the most visited restaurant in Marikina, that is the reputation of the Cafe Flora. Okay, so for the price naman is yung 150 pesos for buffet excluding drinks. So in-include niya yon dito sa kanyang list. Okay, appetizers, not appetizing, cold soup and main dish, nice ambience, and relaxing atmosphere. Okay. So despite the relatively low price of the buffet, Cafe Flora might not receive an entirely excellent review from the reviewer since she does not find the food very pleasing to the palate as evidenced by her third and fourth comment. So ito yung pinaka main idea niya of her review. Okay. Yung food is not pleasing and para sa kanya, paano niya sabing it is not pleasing? So yung appetizer, not appetizing. Yung the soup is not warm or is not hot. Okay, sinerve ng cold. Tapos yung main dish, hindi ganun ka pleasing sa kanyang panlasa. So when it comes naman to the reputation, okay, it is known in the restaurant is known in Marikina City and yung kanyang ambience naman is nice and relaxing, okay, based on the experience of the reviewer. So going back to the reputation, so when we talk about the reputation, okay, it is actually based how it is known for how the customers. Okay. Okay. So, napapansin ko nga mahina ang mga connection ninyo. Okay. Pawala-wala kayo. Okay. So, again, okay. So, for example, if the is so another way to recognize the reputation of a restaurant is their service. Okay? So if they have a superb service, okay, they will be known for that. Okay, that will be part of their reputation. Okay, what else? Okay, if they will serve the best food, okay, experienced by the customer, okay, that in that way, this will be also partly known as a good reputation for that restaurant. So the basic idea is that the more affordable the food being offered is the more the restaurant is accessible naman to the general public. Okay? So another way to identify or another way to to recognize the reputation of a restaurant is it's of course affordability. Okay? So dito umikot yung kanyang mga comments about the restaurant. It's about the affordability, okay, the surrounding or the ambience, okay, how it is known to the locality, okay, and of course yung bad side naman nito is yung food niya, yung pagkain niya, how it is served, okay, ano yung panlasa para sa or ano yung how it is pleasant to the taste of the reviewer. Okay. So when you are going to write a restaurant review, okay, this you can follow this guidelines. Okay, you can also do what the uh, reviewer did to Cafe Flora. So nag-focus siya dito sa mga facet na to. Okay, so it's actually it depends sa writer. Okay, kung ano yung magiging focus niya on on the restaurant, okay, he or she wants to write a review with. Okay, so hindi naman lahat kailangan yung itackle sa inyong review. Okay, pipili lang kayo na you think is very salient dun sa restaurant na yon. The same way also with the movie. Okay. You just choose, okay, at least 3 important facets that you think needed in your review. Now, so once your ideas are already on the paper, it will be easier to go through them and make the necessary changes. So, nandito na tayo sa drafting stage. Okay. So first thing you need to do is use the initial list of your observation to start a review essay. So, yung kaninang pinresent ko will be your starting point, okay, to review, okay, or what you're going to write in your essay. Then simply wrote whatever you thought of the restaurant without any regard for any organizing principle. So you just have to write everything that you think, okay, about the restaurant. Okay? Pwede kayong lumayo dun sa inyong guidelines. Kung ano yung pumasok sa isip nyo na you think is related dun sa restaurant, you can write it down. Okay? You can jot it down. Okay? So wala nyo, wag nyo muna pag-iisipan yung how you're going to organize your essay. Okay? What really important is everything that you thought that is everything that is every ideas, okay, that you think is are very important for that review. Yun muna ang focus ninyo. So the main goal in writing your first draft is to simply put your ideas on paper and having your work in essay form. So for in the drafting stage, you just have to write your ideas. You just put everything in paper. Yes. Lahat ng mga pumapasok dyan sa utak ninyo about the restaurant, okay, you have to concretize it by writing it in the paper. Okay. Mahirap kasi yon na mag-uumpisa agad kayo magsulat, okay, nung essay, and then iisipin nyo agad yung other aspect of writing such as yung organizing it or checking the grammar. Okay? Eh, hindi nyo pa naman lahat, okay, nasusulat yung mga important details or ideas about your review. Okay? So, dun muna kayo mag-focus. Okay? So, if you keep on checking your grammar while writing the draft, it will only impede your thought processes. So that's preventing you from writing all the important points you wish to include in your paper. Okay, so do not to be conscious of your grammar and organization yet. Okay. Meron tayong part for that. Meron tayong stage for that. Okay, about grammar and organization. So in the drafting stage, what really important is to jot down all the ideas, all the details that you think are necessary for your review. Okay, wala munang checking ng grammar, wala munang checking ng how you going to organize it, kung magkakasunod ba o tama ba, okay, yung kung coherent ba siya or may unity ba yung mga sentences or paragraph mo. Wala muna tayo dyan sa drafting stage. Okay? So more on jotting down your ideas or trying to concretize all the thoughts you have about the restaurant. So, para mas hindi kayo mahirapan, sundin nyo yung guidelines nyo, yung mga linagay nyo dun sa comment or feedback based dun sa mga pinili nyong facet that you want to discuss in your review. Okay? So, any questions? Do you have any questions ba? Okay. Wala pa? So far, malinaw pa sa inyo yung ating topic. So, writing na tayo ha. So, ito yung gagawin ninyo. Okay? Sa next activity natin. This is how you're going to write a review, whether it be restaurant or movie review. Pero magfo-focus tayo sa movie review. Okay? So, if you don't have any questions, ayan, let's continue. Okay. So last, yes, you may ask your friend or teacher to check it for you and write down their comment. So once we start, once we start this exercise or this activity, okay, ito yung isa sa mga gagawin nyo. Okay, so you have to check, okay, your draft, okay, by asking your classmate, okay, to check your work. So you have to ask your friend also. So let's see, magkakaroon tayo ng, okay, so I'm going to assign partner, okay, so that you can exchange your work to check, uh, kung tama yung mga ginagawa ninyo. Okay, so aside from your classmates, okay, I will also do the checking. So after you let your classmate or partner check your work, then the next stage is I'll be the one to check your draft, first draft. Okay, so gagawin din natin yan sa ating activity. So I'm going to give you time, okay, for you to ask your classmate or your designated partner for this activity to check your work. Mag-exchange lang kayo. And then afterwards, I'll be the one naman to check, okay, your draft, okay, for this activity. So may questions kayo doon sa part na yon? Okay. Do you have a question doon sa gagawin ninyo? So, pwedeng kayong pumili ng inyong partner o I'll be the one to assign a partner, okay, to you to check your work. So, pag-isipan nyo yun kung anong mas prefer ninyo. So, let's begin. Let's move on. So, first draft, okay. So this is the example. Okay. So binalikan lang natin yung pinresent ko before na review. Okay. Restaurant review at ang restaurant na that was reviewed is the Cafe Flora in Marikina. Okay. So the first paragraph does not provide any background information of the cafe. Okay. So it only states the general opinion of the writer. So if you notice, the words used by the writer are ambiguous, relaxing, really good, etc. So because of this, her statement fails to provide readers with a clear idea of what she actually observed in the restaurant. Also, the last clause seems to be a stray idea. So when you start, well, this is just this is the first draft. Kaya let's expect na marami pa talagang correction, okay, on this example. Okay, so katulad na nabanggit natin sa first paragraph, if we're going to follow our the format, we have to provide information about the restaurant. So what is the background information? Okay. Although binanggit niya na nasa Marikina to, pero aside from that, wala na siyang mention about the cafe. Okay, so in this example, okay, make sure when you write your review, sa first paragraph pa lang, dun yung nai-introduce yung restaurant or yung movie. Okay, so you have to give at least yung 3 to 5 sentences about the restaurant or about the movie. Okay, next. So there's no clear transition from first and the second paragraph. So every time we do writing exercises, I always mention or I always remind you about transition words. Eh, kasi very important to when you are writing a paragraph or a composition. So you have to review ano ba yung mga transition words na ginagamit natin, okay, when we write sentences or paragraph, okay, because this will help uh, the transition of paragraph, okay, from one paragraph to another smoothly, okay, and this also will organize your composition, okay, if you know how to use these transition words, okay. So going when we when are going to describe something, like for example this restaurant, hindi enough yung relaxing, really good, okay? Kasi very broad pa rin siya. You have to choose words that really specify, okay? So paano siya naging relaxing, okay? Ano yung other terms or words, okay, that we can use to really give a specific, okay, description about the restaurant. Okay, so hindi dapat lang really good. Kaya what do you mean really good? Okay, so hindi rin siya enough, okay, to describe or to give specific information about the restaurant. So gagamit tayo ng mas specific na words to describe the ambience, okay, of the restaurant. So the piece is quite verbose and the choice of words seems inadequate. Okay. So when we say manageable, what does it mean? Okay. In the context of this piece, okay, what does manageable means? Okay. So ito yung word na manageable. Okay. It is already manageable. So what do you mean manageable? So ambiguous words din to. Okay. So, iiwasan natin yung mga words na general siya or broad pa rin. Okay, hindi siya nagbibigay ng exact, okay, description, okay, of the thing that you are trying to describe. Okay. So the paragraph deals with the food offered by the restaurant. Okay. And while the conclusion is able to synthesize the ideas presented in the review, it still lacks vitality. Okay. So if you're going to read the draft, okay, the comments of the writer are too general and they do not talk about what the food was like in great detail. So furthermore, words such as delicious, ordinary should be avoided since they are quite subjective. Okay? So rather, it would be much better to come up with specific and concrete descriptions of the food. So we have to avoid using yung mga subjective, okay, description. Okay, so example here is delicious and ordinary. So we can think of other term or words that will give a specific description, okay, about the food, okay, being described. So for example, when we say delicious, ano bang specific, okay, words or term na pwede nating sabihin? Okay. So instead of delicious, do you have any idea? Paki-turn on ang mga video. Wala na akong nakikita. Puro pangalan na lang. Oh. Hans, Aika, Krisha, Daryl. Nasaan na mga video ninyo? Okay. So what other words, okay, that we can replace for delicious? Other term, specific word to describe a food if it is delicious.
Flavorful.
Kasi we have to, yes? Sino yung nagsalita? Flavor.
Flavorful.
Flavorful. Okay. Pwede, okay. So, what else?
Tasty.
It's taste,
Tasty.
tasty. Okay. So, these are positive terms or at least specific terms that we can replace, okay, for delicious. Kasi yung delicious is too subjective and it does not really give you a particular or specific description about the food. Okay? So, iiwasan natin yung mga ganong term. Okay? So, when you start your review, okay, malaking bagay na merong Google. May Google naman eh. So, pwede nyo i-check sa Google kung ano yung mga terms or words that you can use, okay, to describe something. Okay? What else? So, for the review to have a significant recall, the writer should try to end it empathetically. Okay? So, you have to be empathic din. Okay? Kahit nasabihin natin hindi mo nagustuhan yung restaurant, okay, hindi mo na-appreciate or it actually, you were disappointed with the food, with the place, okay, you still have to end your uh, your composition or your review empathetically. Okay? Hindi puro mabibigat na criticism. Okay? So, kailangan kahit papano, we also have to show some respect also to the restaurant. Okay? Next. Okay. So this times, revision stage naman tayo. So the comments and revisions you are going to make in preparing for the second draft should ideally deal with improving the content of your piece and organization of your ideas. Okay. So guidelines on what to watch out for during this stage. So does the review have a clear general impression that it communicates to its readers? Okay. Do the details presented in the body adequately support the main idea of the review? Is the presentation of the criticism presentable to the general audience, or do they sound too spiteful? Does it border on being offensive or libelous? And did the author maintain an objective stance towards the restaurant being reviewed? Okay, so these are the guidelines, okay, when you start doing your revision, okay, for your review. Okay, make sure that your general impression about the restaurant or about the movie is clear to the readers. Okay, so you have to check it, okay? You have to check your thesis statement. Malinaw ba yun sa readers? Okay, do the details presented in the body accurately support the main idea? So you make a general impression about the restaurant. So do all the details supporting information, okay, really support or explain your general impression. Baka merong mga ideas ka na pinresent, okay, without supporting information, or you have presented some details or supporting information na hindi naman included sa general impression mo. Okay? So, is the presentation of the criticism presentable to the general audience? So, sino ba ang readers mo? Okay, kasama yon na aalamin mo dahil doon ka magbe-base on how you're going to write your review. Okay. Or do they sound too spiteful? Baka kasi naman sobrang, yun nga, as I've said nga, below the belt na yung iyong mga criticism or yung critic about the restaurant. Okay, masyadong mabigat, masyado na siyang offensive, and libelous na yung dating, you have to check it also. Okay, make sure na hindi aabot sa ganun yung mga, yung critic mo. Okay? Or else, baka instead na maging instead na makatulong to do sa restaurant or they will take it constructively, makasuhan ka pa dahil kung ano-ano yung mga sinabi mong hindi maganda against them. Okay? So did the author maintain an objective stance towards the restaurant being reviewed? Okay? In academic writing, we always we always need to make sure that our writings, our essays, okay, are objective. Okay? Hindi we have to be impartial, okay, when we write in related to academics. Okay? So, sisiguraduhin nyo dapat yan sa isusulat yung review. So, in the revision stage, your main concern is the content of your piece. So, do not be conscious of your grammar and mechanics because these all will be dealt on the editing stage. So, though you have these guidelines, as you can see, wala pa rin dito yung grammar checking. Okay, and yung mga mechanics checking, hindi pa rin included yan sa revision stage. Okay? Ang importante sa revision stage is your idea and how you present your ideas. Okay? So, hindi pa rin natin titingnan dyan yung organization, pagkaka-organize ng inyong composition. Okay? So, hindi nyo dapat bigyan pa ng focus yung grammar, composition, yung organization of your sentences. Wala pa tayo dyan sa revision stage. Okay? So, you just have to make sure that your content, okay, is there. Okay? What you want to present in your review is clear and the ideas are well presented with your supporting information. And then the tone, the style, yun yung magiging focus nyo when you are revising your review. Okay? Okay. Any questions sa revision stage? Meron ba kayong questions? Clarifications? Meron ba? Eh, meron ba tayong questions? Clarifications? So, wala pa? Okay, sige. Let's continue. So, editing stage. Again, this is both applicable to restaurant and movie review. Okay. Pero after this, okay, I will also have separate, okay, separate discussion about movie review. Okay. So now we are in the editing stage na. So sa editing stage, you need to go over with your review and correct whatever errors in grammar or mechanics you may find. So dito na tayo mag-e-edit. Okay, dito nyo na check kung tama ba yung mga punctuation na ginamit nyo. Okay, the grammar, transition words, sentence structure, okay, your use of articles, the use of modals. Okay, dito na lahat yan. Okay, sa editing stage. So once you already organize your ideas, you presented your ideas okay, with supporting information, okay, you have a clear content about your review, then it's about time na in the editing stage to check your grammar. Okay. Sa editing stage yan. Okay. So dito, ito na yung sample of edited review. So a title is presented to capture the reader's attention at the very onset of the piece. Okay, so sufficient background information has now been added to help the readers relate to the restaurant being reviewed. Okay, so yung naka-highlight, there is something wrong with the preposition and a modal used in this paragraph. So for example, okay, for attracting, so instead, okay, we can use the of preposition. Sa may naman, okay, instead of may, we have to use the verb is. Okay. So when you start editing, okay, when you start editing your review, it is very important, okay, to check the uses of preposition and modals in writing a paragraph. So what are examples of modals ba? Okay, ito yung mga will, would, shall, should, can, could, and must. Kasi uh, most of the time, you have to use these models in writing a review. Kaya siguraduhin nyo, alam nyo how to use these models. When are we going to use the will, would, shall, should, can, could, and must? Okay? Ano pa? In addition, you also have to check or to review your transition words because these are very useful in making a smooth change of paragraph to another. So as you read this example, you will notice that there are some parts of the paragraph that need correction or improvement. And this will be the focus of your editing stage. Okay, so, dito na kayo mag-check, okay, kung tama ba yung inyong mga grammar na ginamit sa inyong. Okay, so, as I mentioned earlier, you can Google, okay, to check kung tama yung mga use of punctuations nyo, okay, verb use, subject-verb agreement, what else? Okay, writing, how to write a paragraph. Okay, kailangan yung balikan yan. Okay, kung medyo kalimutan nyo na, balikan nyo at it's easy for you to do that because we have Google. Pwede nyong i-check sa Google if you still have your books in English grammar, much better. Pwede nyo rin balikan lahat yan. Okay? So, ito na yung part na kailangan is maayos yung inyong mga maayos in terms of mechanics ang inyong review. Okay? Next. Okay. So after correcting the grammar errors in the second draft, the reviewer's paper is now ready for publication. So, okay. So kung hindi pa kayo makontento, balik-balikan nyo yung editing stage before you publish your review. So before you submit to me your review, okay, balik-balikan nyo yung editing stage. Okay, to make sure na tama yung grammar ng inyong review. Okay. Pwede nyo pa rin balikan yung revising stage. So sa tingin nyo, hindi kayo kontento do sa ideas you presented to your review, you can go back to that stage. Okay? For you to check, tama ba yung content ko? Tama ba yung thought process ko? Did I present everything I need to present about the restaurant? Okay? Am I impartial ba or naging subjective ba ako dun sa restaurant or dun sa movie, okay, that I'm making a review? So, okay, you can go back to these stages. Okay? If ever you are not content with your writing. Okay? So, bago ninyo i-publish or bago niyo i-submit sa akin yung inyong review. Okay? So, okay. So, let's end this here muna. Okay? On Monday, we will continue. We will focus naman on